Alright guys, another rapid response video coming your way, and this comment is coming from Jaeger What Ifs, who asked, how would you handle Earth 3's Crime Syndicate if you had full control? So first of all, I just want to open up this conversation by saying I believe the Crime Syndicate is one of the coolest, if not the coolest, multiversal, dimensional versions of the DC characters out there. I know nowadays we live in a world where DC and Marvel too is all about the multiverse. It feels like there's no way to tell stories anymore without divulging into the multiverse and bringing in different versions of these characters, and sometimes it can get really messy, very confusing, and I gotta be honest with you, a lot of those storylines nowadays make me lose interest in this stuff. Although every now and then I am okay with it being dropped in when it is used efficiently and properly. Often I find Earth 3's Crime Syndicate to be used that way. Now, how would I handle them if I had full control? And I took this from the perspective if I was writing some sort of comic book story, or if I was controlling them in a live action setting, or even an animated setting. Now, to keep things simple, I think the way I would handle them is nearly the exact same way that the Justice League Crisis on Two Earths animated movie handled them. An evil Justice League group who have basically dominated their own planet and are looking for new challenges to dominate other planets. At the same time, you have Owlman creating the multiversal dimensional technology to travel from one universe to another. He also has his own secretive plan of what it actually was in Crisis on Two Earths, to find the Earth where all other Earths have come from, to plant a bomb on it, and to destroy all life within the multiverse. This idea that life is not worth living, at least for a vast majority of the beings living across all universes. And his idea would be to simply have one Earth left where you could start anew. Now, of course, that would be the end goal I would write into this story that Owlman would particularly have. Although the rest of the Crime Syndicate League members, they simply just want power and control. They want to dominate as many Earths as they possibly can to basically have a chokehold on the multiverse. Now, their moral bankruptcy, their disrespect for law and order, where would that leave this group? How exactly would things be run on their own planet? I imagine the Crime Syndicate to have the same amount of members as a Justice League International would. You have your main JL team, your Justice Society, Justice League Dark, and so on. It would work very similar with the Crime Syndicate. Crime Syndicate being the Justice League, and then you could branch out to many other teams. There would be so many members that you could actually assign a particular metahuman to every single state or major city of America, in which America would actually be renamed. It would no longer be the United States of America. It would be renamed to something like Syndication. I don't know, maybe that's not the best idea of a name. It is literally something I just came up with right now, but it is just simply to show a sign of dominance that it is the Crime Syndicate who runs things on this planet. It would be quite dystopian. People would be living in constant fear every single day of their life. They would be promised freedom. They would be able to live their lives the way they see fit, but truly at the end of the day, would that really be possible for a regular citizen of this world? And that's not just how it would work for America, that's how it would work all around the world. Now, of course, if you have a crime syndicate, there needs to be some good to this planet, even though the majority of the good here is going to be dominated by bad. You would, of course, have the Legion of Heroes, which was created, funded, and led by Lex Luthor, who, of course, in this world is good, along with some of our other villains being counterparted to heroes. I would actually have them hide out in Canada. Now, the majority of Canada, the major cities, Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, all the highly populated locations of Canada, they would be dominated dominated by a particular Crime Syndicate character. But Canada is so large, especially the northern part of Canada. There are so many areas you could hide, so many uncharted pieces, that this is where the Legion of Heroes would have their main hideout. And obviously, with Lex Luthor being the leader of this team, he would be able to use technology and to use particular instruments that could keep their hideout secretive from the Crime Syndicate, even from people like Owlman and Ultraman. Of course, you have the Legion of Doom, whose skull-shaped base usually resides in some sort of swampy area. What I did have an idea of was Ultraman's Fortress of Solitude, where Lex Luthor was capable of taking over for himself and refitting it to serve his purposes, somehow even found a way to move the Fortress of Solitude somewhere where Ultraman could not find it, and now they use it as a sanctuary for good rather than what Ultraman would have used it for. There's a lot of details that I'm skipping out on here because I don't want to make the video too long, but the idea would be that once they've come to the canon Earth, Prime Earth, I guess we could call it, they will end up losing to our Justice League. I wouldn't have it necessarily so cut and dry. Maybe a couple of them end up getting imprisoned on Prime Earth, but most characters would end up returning to Earth 3, but some characters, by their own accord, would stay on Prime Earth. For any of the Crime Syndicate that gets shifted back to Earth 3, the Legion of Heroes led by Luthor and a couple of the other characters, they are now capable of asserting their dominance back to the world, and that is a good thing because now they will revert all of the corrupt power that the Crime Syndicate tried to showcase to the planet in the first place. Countries would go back to their original names, there would be a regulated government coming back into play, and Lex Luthor and the rest of the heroes would make sure to keep a lot of these Crime Syndicate members in check. And every now and then there would be a couple of Justice League members from Prime Earth who would make a trip to Earth 3 to make sure everything's okay and to help Lex Luthor with anything he might need help with. Ultraman either could return back to Earth 3, where his arch-enemy rivalry would begin against good Lex Luthor, or he could actually be kept on Earth Prime, where Superman would try to send him to the Phantom Zone, and that wouldn't necessarily work, where he would now become a recurring villain for Superman. But the one thing I am absolutely certain of, Owlman would stay on Prime Earth, and after his attempt to destroy the multiverse failed, he would remain and find the Court of Owls. I don't necessarily want to say he would actually be the founder of the Court of Owls. I want to say more so that he simply finds this ancient organization that's been operating underneath Gotham City for about the past 300 years or so, and he takes control of it. Whereas maybe there could be a situation just like Crisis on Two Earths. He gets transported to the very first Earth and he blows up and dies. Maybe that's how Batman believes his fate, but what actually happens is he could potentially escape his own death and destruction, finds his way back to Earth Prime, and exacts his, I guess you could say, vengeance on Batman by now ruling the Court of Owls and coming after not just Batman but Bruce Wayne as well. But at the end of the day, the Crime Syndicate, and especially the main characters that come with the Crime Syndicate, Owlman, Ultraman, Superwoman, Johnny Quick, Power Ring, Grid, Deathstorm, you name it. It would not be the only time you would see these characters. They would be dealt with more in the future, and they would have particular roles they would have to play, either good or bad. But there you go, guys. That's how I would handle the Crime Syndicate. So Jaeger, thank you for the comment. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for the month of March. I am going to be putting another one of these posts up so you can get your comments in, and I will be able to make more rapid response videos. But that is all I have for you on this one, everyone. And until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.